Wow, I didn't realize how much I had to talk about until I got writing down some of the things I wanted to go over. Man, oh man. We get the sale, we got staking, we got injuries, injury report. Nothing new, thank God, but some injuries. We have some updates. We have qualifiers to talk about, schoolers to talk about. Let's kick it off with the sale. Now, this is a qualifying update, and an update and a qualifying report. We'll get to the qualifiers in a second. The sale, as I'd said to Jason when all the horses left, if we averaged 7,000 a horse, I thought that was fair. You know, in my mind, who wants to buy a 2-year-old in May that somebody doesn't want, right? And that's what it come down to with McNugget. And there was one horse I had told you we were putting a small reserve on. I told you I'd asked Jason to watch Classy Will go through the ring. I thought he was okay. He just slid into the list. I was a little embarrassed because we gave away a share of Classy Will at the open house, and here he is the next day on the truck to Ohio. So that looked a little silly. For the person that won that share, Kelly's reaching out to them. We'll give you whatever you want, Crazy Mission or whatever. I don't care. Classy Will went for 9,000. I think that's fair. Quite a bit above the average I had told you I thought we were aiming for. And I know we watched a couple of horses plummet through. Master Treaty, Rockin' Out Loud, and McNugget. They're just not good horses. And, they're well-bred. Very well-bred, but breeding means nothing at this point unless you're going to breed the horses. Pine Creek went for 7,000. I think she was a trotting filly. She's Ohio-bred, and she is well-bred. I think the Trotters just brought a little bit more than the Pacers. Although, having said that, our top horse sold was Better Call Mike. And I mentioned Margot, and we talked about Better Call Mike, but truth of the matter was, Better Call Mike was okay. He just wasn't going to do here what we needed him to do. He'll make somebody a good racehorse, that horse, I believe. So Better Call Mike went for 11,000. A little bit more than I thought he'd bring, and a little bit fair. Be My Delight, she's small, she's not the soundest horse right now. She brought, I think, $6,200. Bay Jewel, 10,000, a bit more than I thought she'd bring, which is good. Still broke my heart, but at the same time, she had to go, and it was good. Two horses I thought came in grossly under what I thought they'd go for. Boston Glide, 7,700. Whoever bought him got a steal. And Holding Steady, 6,200. Big, strong gray horse. A little surprised with that one. Classy Will went for 9,000. The Butler did at 9. I thought that was fair. Rockin' Out Loud, Master Treaty. McNugget was low, and Pine Creek was right on that 7,000 mark. All in all, we sold 12 for like $100 short of 7,000 a horse. So now the fees for the sale and the whatever and the shipping have to come out, but at the same time, closure on a chapter of the stable that just needed. I know I try not to read a lot of the social media stuff, but some people were saying how we were taking a beating and we were selling these horses. There isn't a stable on earth that doesn't have to sell some of their horses that are bad. I mean, they don't all turn out. I don't care if you're perfect example. Springbridge Proud winning 54. We all liked him. He won at least three races at 2. Thought that he was going to be okay at 3. Ron Burke sold him on gate. He didn't come back very good at all. Won America 54 and won a race in 54 and a bit at the Poconos, and then they sold him. That happens. It happens. Jimmy Takter, Rennie, the biggest stables in the U.S. sell horses. I mean, I don't think anybody can realistically believe that, if you were to buy 10 horses, to think that 10 of them would be nice horses would be bullish, to say that. Bullshit, maybe, but it would be aggressive to think that. I think, we bought 70 some yearlings. I have found 4 that I had to sell. There's a couple more that I could have sold, I suppose, but I had said the reason I didn't sell Crazy Mission was because he was too small. Paul McKenzie went with him and asked us to wait. He said, he seems like he wants to go. He's pretty well there. So why don't we wait? Because I think we can sell him privately for a little bit more than we would have brought at the sale, especially looking at the smaller horses like Rocking Out Loud, what they brought. I mean, I couldn't let Crazy Mission go for 3,200. I think he could be a Buckeye-type horse and do some good for the stable. So Crazy Mission stayed. So that's it. That's the sale. We come in almost exactly, pound for pound, exactly where I thought we would. just a hair under 7,000 a horse before fees and shipping and whatnot. So that's the sale. Now we're going to go to the qualifying report. Now we had one horse qualify, Casanova's Jewel. Let's start with Casanova's Jewel. So Casanova's Jewel got off to a good start. He looked a little pinchy still on that splint left front, a little ouchy behind left hind. Didn't get out of the gate. He got out of the gate really well. Looked like he was going to go that mile and 58 that I wanted. Passed in the last turn and made a break in the last turn. And I'll be completely upfront with everybody. James said he didn't like him. I love Casanova's Jewel. James said he didn't like him. I know a couple of our clients will probably be looking to sell their shares in him. I'm going to hit the pause button for a week or so with Casanova's Jewel. He seems eager to do his work, not 100% sound, and I want to get to the bottom of it. And this is the frustrating part of this, is that I can't see what is going on. I can't feel what is going on. I can see what you can see. I can talk to James the same as you can, but I can't see what is going on. And that is very frustrating. 4 to 5 weeks, we're going to fix that. June 13th, my cast comes off. Obviously, if we're going to get to the injury report at some point, we'll start with this. I got 6 pins. For those of you who have the Facebook, you saw the Frankenstein-ish operation that went on with my wrist. I have 6 hooks sticking out of my wrist, 6 rods that look like coat hangers sticking through the skin. I think just bracing that bone so the radius so it heals back good. It feels good. I think I can pull. My biggest problem is I'm turning into Montgomery Burns. My bruises are pretty well gone, but I feel weak, and I don't like that feeling. So we'll see what takes place there. So in regards to Casanova's Jewel, I can't sit behind him. I can't make the decisions. I can't fix him, and I'm going to hit the pause button for a week or so with him, tinker around with him. We're still shifting and shuffling some horses at the burn area. So he might be a horse that also gets moved. But by moved, he'll probably go to Kevin's barn or maybe up top. I don't know that Harry's got a lot going on right now, and if the horses aren't going forward for him, then we'll simply move them, same as we will Kevin or anybody else. So that's it in a nutshell as far as Casanova's Jewel. He didn't qualify good today. I thought he was going to go a mile and 58, but James said he was starting to weaken a little bit, touched himself and made a break. He said, I didn't think he had any excuses to make a break, but he did, and that's that. So I am going to tinker with Casanova's Jewel, shoeing a little bit with the blacksmith, and see if we first off get him 100% sound, secondly get him moving forward. Also, we had a bunch of schoolers. Sunshine Inn schooled today very well. Mile 58. She's going to be racing in the City of London series next week. Who else schooled? Cruising in Style schooled in 58. I thought he looked a little bit weak still, but Sylvain was actually happy with him. He said 58, 28 a piece on the end of it. He's coming. Arvika schooled. Now, a little update on Arvika for everybody. She only get in twice in a month. Unacceptable. I called Scott DiDomenico and asked him if he could get the horse in at Yonkers in the Meadowlands, and could she do? He said, absolutely. I believe she can do the 9 winners at 2025 here. No problem. Send her down. And we did. Well, she's leaving Monday. Mohawk called for her entry for Monday night, and I said, nah, we can't race every 2.5 weeks here, so we're going to have to send this filly away. And, I think that's a shortcoming of the industry in general. If Mohawk knew, and I said this 4 years ago, if Mohawk in Ontario had a database, just knew every horse that was there, just asked your trainers to update their profile, update their horses, so that if they needed to fill classes or look for horses, they could do so. Instead, they're caught going with an 8-horse 10 claimer and leaving 10 non-winners and 2 trotters on the sidelines for the week. I'm not a big fan of that. I know when they start Tuesdays that loosens up, but Arvika can't wait for Tuesdays. Our clients can't wait for Tuesdays. My job is to make sure that the horses are training good, racing good, being entered in the right place, a conduit to and from our trainers to our clients. And obviously, when you're racing every 17 days, you can't keep the horses tight. Our clients are getting upset. It really doesn't matter if they're first or second. We're missing out. And we waited a long time for Arvika to come around. She's around now. We can't race her. It's a little unfair. So she's going down to Scott DiDomenico in New York. She's going to leave here on the weekend or Monday morning, and she'll be racing Thursday night in Yonkers. So that is Arvika. Sunshine Inn we talked about. Casanova's Jewel we talked about. White Tiger trained the other day. He's qualifying tomorrow morning at in New Jersey at the Meadowlands. He's got the rail in the second qualifier with Dave Miller driving him. I saw his picture that he posted the other day. Andrew said he looked great. He didn't switch much of the shoes or anything. He just put him back to the way he was last year, which is good. We had a lighter set of trot hobbles on him here. I wouldn't think that would be the cause for making the break last week, but it could. It could be. So he has his heavier set of hobbles on down there. What else we got? Staking. Made the final staking payments. I had a couple people say, geez, you know, you cut some stakes out of the horses. Why wouldn't we just make the last payments? Now, that wouldn't be very responsible of me, would it? I mean, yes, we paid the horses into some of the earlier ones, but if we can save $2,000 for our clients saying, and I don't want to name names, but there's a couple of trotters we took out of the Wellwood, we took out of the Breeders' Crown. They're just not going to be good enough. I mean, the Breeders' Crown might be 4 months away, but there would have to be significant improvement with some of these horses. And, you know, I take some heat sometimes for not being frugal enough, not being conservative enough with your money. I don't like that. I try to be as conservative and frugal as I can. And making the last stake payment, I'm still not going to throw $2,000 away, even for the people that would own 1% of that horse. Still $20. Would you throw $20 on the ground? I don't think so. And that's where we're at right now, is that it was a tough decision. I didn't just flip a coin or say, hey, what about this? I thought long and hard about this for a week, 2 weeks. Finally made the decision after the open house day, which horses would make that last payment for, which horses we would not. And I think I did a good job in doing that. I think I was fair about it. If you want to argue, you should have said maybe I shouldn't have made the third payment, not the last one. So we did the best we could. Now, tonight in Illinois, this is Friday morning. Tonight in Illinois, Lincoln James makes his Chicago debut. Ivanka is making her second start. Tightened her last week, looked pretty good. Now, a lot of people ask about Not an Angel. She's going to drift into the injury report. We ultrasounded her and x-rayed her. Nothing torn in the suspensory, nothing broke. There was some swelling. Did she strain it? Okay. She strained her low suspensory right hind. No tears, no holes, none of that, just swelling. So we put her in the pool for 2 weeks, and when we send Olympic hopeful out to Illinois to Angie and Rob around the 15th of June or so, Angel can head out with them. That's where we're at with her in Illinois. Now we'll talk about some injuries and how they're coming along. Everybody wants to know about Sunshine's Finest. How is he? When are we getting that CT done? I did a video last week. You guys all saw it about the CT scan, and it was pretty clear, so I had an update. Tell you what kind of a surgeon Natalie Cote is, just so you know. She works at the University of Guelph. Very, very accomplished and decorated surgeon. I get a call yesterday morning. Had a bad day. It was raining, and both my wrists were really sore. My rib was sore, so I stayed in bed for a little while. There's not much to do with the burn and the rain. She said, Anthony, it's Natalie. I said, oh, how are you, Natalie? I've known Natalie a long time. She said, good, I'm at your burn. I said, excuse me? She goes, I'm at your burn. I want to drop in and see Sunshine's Finest and Forged in Fire. She did an operation on his throat. I said, wow. Okay, let's talk. She said, the wound in his ankle is still open. She said, so it's weeping, which is good. That keeps the swelling down. That's why he's sound to walk on it. So I don't want to close it up, but I can't operate. There's no point doing the CT if I can't operate. I can't operate with that open wound there. So she said, I put a stitch in it, not to close it. She goes, just to put it closer together so it'll heal on its own quicker. I said, okay. She goes, now, here's what we're going to do. I put the stitch in. I cleaned the wound up. I put the stitch in. He'll come. She said, we'll x-ray him. Now, if that fragment is back in place, she goes, I watched your video. It's pretty cool. She goes, I watched your video last week. Now, there is a tiny hair of a fragment and a little cartilage missing from the leg. With the accident, it happens. So, if I screw that back in, it will minimize the arthritis, but there will be a little arthritis from that little chip that's missing. She goes, Anthony, any horse with a cracked bone, broken bone, or just joint issues will have that similar arthritis. It's not a big deal. I said, okay. She goes, if we x-ray and that fragment is healing back in place good, I don't think I'll use the CT, and I don't think I'll screw it back in. But If it's not where I like it, she goes, we'll do the CT and then we'll screw it back in. So we're at a crossroad, 2 crossroads coming up. First one, the wound healing up. When that wound heals up, then we take Sunshine's Finest up to the university, and at that point, they'll do the CT, or they'll do an X-ray first. If they're happy with the X-ray, he goes home. If they're not happy with the X-ray, then they're going to do the CT to make sure there's no fragment lines, no fracture lines in that fragment, and then they're going to put a screw in it. So a lot of things have to take place first. And this is important for everybody. I know everybody doesn't want to ask, but are all wondering how long. Now we're all happy a miracle occurred. We're all happy that Sunshine's Finest appears that he is going to make it back to the races at some point. That's probably true. I don't have a timeline for you. Now keep in mind, that timeline will change significantly if they open them up and put a screw in it. Wait, will that diminish it because it's now screwed, or will it lengthen it? I don't know. And I don't think the vets want to give us any prognosis until they do that X-ray. First, I want to see the skin heal up good without any proud flesh, and so he stays sound. Secondly, X-ray. X-ray is the next biggest hump. If the chip is sealing up and putting back in back in place where it should be, there won't be a CT scan. There won't be an operation. And at that point, I will discuss with the surgeon what the timeline looks like for Sunshine's Finest. I can only imagine it's 3 months minimum. I'm thinking. But again, don't take that for granted. I might be wrong. So that's where we're at with Sunshine's Finest. The X-ray is the biggest hurdle from here. Wound has to clean up, seal up, then the X-ray. From the X-ray, there'll be a determination of, do we do the CT and operate, or do we leave him alone and start him back when the surgeon says to start him back? 2 different paths. They all will be determined by an X-ray. That will be determined when that wound heals. He had an appointment for Tuesday that now has been pushed to pending. So that's where we're at right now. Sunshine's Finest. When the wound heals, the X-ray will occur, and I can give you many, many, many more answers after that. Now, Cabernet, obviously she had a heart attack somewhat. I guess the easiest way for me to explain it, 4 or 5 weeks ago, she has an appointment Tuesday to get her heart checked and get her blood levels checked. If her heart looks good, she can start back into work. Now, I had falsely told you she would start back jogging last weekend, and then the veterinarian brought it to my attention that the surgeon, or that the head vet at the university would like to do an EKG before we started. Don't want to see anything happen that shouldn't, so we've been turning her out in the field right now at the farm, awaiting this green light from the surgeon. Again, Cabernet is going to be a ways from the races, but she appears to be out of the woods. Forged in Fire, injured. I don't want to go over it again. I talked to all our clients about it. People are selling their shares back and getting out of Forged in Fire. Can't really blame you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to see this through at least till we start to train him back and I get a good look at him. He had his right adenoid removed and a tie back performed. That's all I have for you right now. Natalie does want me to take him up. She took Sunshine's Finest's spot because he doesn't need it Tuesday, and put Forged in Fire in that spot. He's going back to the university to have that area cleaned up, make sure there's no proud flesh there, and then away we go. Anteros got a favorable ultrasound. We're going to start back either in the field with him, put him in the field, actually what we might do, send him up to swim for a couple of weeks, put him on the walker in the morning and in the pool in the afternoon, start stimulating that tendon to start really hardening up, tightening up. Everything's going as planned with Anteros thus far. Wow, what a day. Do we have any more? Final answer. Off and on a little bit ouchy on that right hind, but no more swelling. And it doesn't look any worse for wear under ultrasound. He is also heading up to swim. We're going to x-ray that to make sure there's not a little line in that splint. Now, this horse has been in 218. He's close. He's getting close. I want to keep him at this level until we find out exactly what is going on with that right hind. Get it cleaned up. So he's progressing. Let's say he's progressing. Hasn't regressed yet. No concerns in that regard. He's progressing right now. Cruising with Angus is back jogging. Light workouts scheduled for the end of the month, first of the month. Everything is looking great with him. And we'll switch gears here. We have 2 other topics. First one is the broodmares. They've both been bred. People keep asking, are they in foal? Are they in foal? I don't really know how it works. I mean, I'm aware how breeding works, but the mares have to ovulate. They have to have eggs, and then it has to. So they've been bred. They were bred Monday. Today's Friday. They were bred Monday. I think they'll probably be checked this weekend, I suppose. I suspect they're going to be in foal, I would hope. Obviously, my MVP, they've both been bred to. Dewey Ann and Stolen Dance we're talking about. They both look good. Now, we'll finish off today's video with Ohio. Had some questions concerning West 52nd. Put him on Lasix. Going to race him in the non-winners of 2 on Wednesday. Then after that, they don't have a non-winners of 3, so assuming he can polish off the non-winners of 2, he can potentially go in the class that Yes was in the non-winners of 4. Last night, 156 in Scioto. Finished 3rd. He raced good, Yes, last night, by the way. I think he could have been, he was driven conservatively, which is fine. We got a long season ahead of us, lots of stakes. Now, I've opted for Yes and West 52nd to race in the Gin Blossom Series. And people say, why? They go for half as much money, but they're also cheaper horses. I need everybody to stop thinking that we can just race the horses right through to 100% every week. We'll run right through them this summer in the heat. You only have so many starts you can go to the well. There's only so many times you can go to the well. They've already had a couple of starts. They're going to have a few more stake races. I don't think either of them have warranted going to the Beal, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. But they do got a lot of Ohio sires, the Ohio breeders. They have the stakes at the end of the year. They have other stuff. I just want easy, confidence-building wins into these horses. And I can't imagine that the Gin Blossom Series at Northfield is super tough. Could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is tough. In which case, we can change gears. But as of right now, West 52nd and Yes are heading to Northfield to race in the Gin Blossom Series on Wednesday, 2 weeks from yesterday, 2 weeks from 2 days ago. And the reason being, I need confidence builders in them. I don't need miles in 55, 56 every week. They're not really doing us that much. Finishing second in the non-winners of 2 or the non-winners of 4 would be the very same as winning the Gin Blossom eliminations. We win both eliminations. We can't go in the 3rd and 4th eliminations anyway because there's sire stakes those 2 weeks in a row. If they make the final, great. If they don't, they don't. But they're great confidence builders, right? You don't have to race for twice as much money and race your horse 4 times as tough. It just does not make sense to me. Now, if we look at the Gin Blossom and it's packed with Burke horses and Beaver horses, okay, all right, fine. I think the proper place to go would be the Gin Blossom. So next Wednesday, West 52nd will race in the non-winners of 2. Next Thursday, Yes will race in the non-winners of 4. Next Friday, Oso Pine will likely race in the non-winners of 4. And then West 52nd and Yes and potentially See You in Tuscany will head to Northfield the week after that for the Gin Blossom. And it's very important that they go there. It's very important that we find the path of least resistance all year long. You know, there's a thin line between me being right and wrong and you being right and wrong. For the people out there that believe we should stick to Scioto and the non-winners of 2 and non-winners of 4, that's fine. But there's a reason that we're doing this. It isn't because I like Northfield. It isn't because we like traveling 2 hours, 2.5 hours up to Northfield. Simply because we want to get a couple of hopefully easy races and easy wins into these horses. Confidence is hard to come by in this day and age, and in this industry. So you should look for that whenever you can. I know that I do. So that's 24 minutes. We had a lot to talk about. We had staking, we had qualifiers, we had the sale, we had injuries, and yes, we had Ohio. So good luck to my partners and myself Saturday with White Tiger qualifying. Stonebridge Simba, I got a note from John Bootenshane saying he trained well today, had some changes he wanted to make. I told him, John, you're training the horse, you do whatever you got to do. So he's going to make a few little changes there. He thinks it'll be in to go next week in Philadelphia. Corey Callahan will be driving him. Perfect. And tomorrow, if you're in the area, I'm putting this up today. If you're around the area tomorrow, we're bringing 37 2-year-olds to Mohawk tomorrow morning. First truck of many trucks leaves at 7 a.m. from the farm. 2 trips starting here tomorrow around 10 to 8 o'clock in the morning. Everything, mostly everything from the United States, Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York, New Jersey will be here training. We have two Ontario breds coming over. McPherson Thunder is coming over, and Fox Valley Shazam is coming over. So a real busy day tomorrow. But that's okay. It's supposed to be a beautiful day. So I'm going to get a couple of cups of coffee. I hate coffee. What am I talking about? I'm going to get a couple of cups of tea. Maybe a muffin and a breakfast sandwich. I'm going to sit right over there. Right over there by the finish line. Get a good look at everything going on. So I'll take some videos for you tomorrow also. We'll have obviously some commentary. You'll have your weekend video coming up. But I thought it was important to get this video out to you guys tonight. And also, if you've watched the full 25 minutes and you're wondering what the hell about licensing, I apologize. Or obviously with our Vic and horses going there, reach out to me personally. Send me an email, send me a text message. Link Kelly at the stable on it, and potentially Wendy K at the stable on it also. And Linda at the stable also. We're trying to get all this worked out for you, and we will at some point. New York and New Jersey, a little tricky. Our Vic threw us a little curveball heading down there, but we'll get this all taken care of today. Well, at least before next Thursday. So that's it, 26 minutes and 15 seconds of it. I'll talk to you guys soon. If you're around tomorrow, come out to Mohawk. Should be cool. 2.5 to 2.8. We'll be going with 37 horses here at Mohawk tomorrow. Take care.